Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to hi-rez Studios. We've got Phase 2 of Relegations along the way, and today is North America's day to throw down. My name's Fdot, joined here by the one and only Envy Allied. How you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great. How have you been, Fdot? Just
Dude.
ready for some relegation games.
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic, and I mean, this is really where it comes down to. This is where it gets exciting, because open bracket's fun. You get to see anyone and everyone, but here, the teams are a little bit more vetted. They've got a little bit more oomph under the hood, I guess you could say, because they've gone through the trials and tribulations. So we've got, starting off the day, we've got Team Flex taking on NeilMah, and then later on you'll be joined by Adonis and Hindu Man, who will grace you with the pleasure of Risky Behavior and Problem Solved, the team that Baskin has been on now. But NeilMah and Team Flex, we know a decent amount of Team Flex. What can you tell us about NeilMah?
So they have the Soulshiner DanteLeFargo, Soulshiner, who's actually been around in the professional scene before. I actually play with Soul a lot. I'm a big fan of Soul. JiminyGlick, who actually was a Smash player, so I know him as well, and he's taking a chance to go professional in Smite.
It's going to be a lot of fun. JiminyGlick, Glickstick, otherwise known as, we've seen him in that sort of Challenger Cup world, right?
Yeah.
We've seen him do it before. Where's he from, out of curiosity?
New York City.
And, you know, so he's got a couple of other stripes on his chest. But NeilMah coming out of the gate, swinging alongside, you mentioned Soulshiner. Soulshiner is a player that no stranger to competition. He's been on SPL teams, he's been on Challenger Cup teams, and he's been on, I mean, he plays,
he's on a college football team.
Yeah, at one point he was playing Division I college football for the Tigers. So definitely has been on and around the competitive scene, at least Smite
and
or otherwise.
We actually forgot PandaCat,
yeah,
who was Panda Viande's old hunter, until apparently something happened where he actually had to miss out, and they had to replace him, not because of performance issues, but because of he had to go somewhere, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know the full story of it, but he was good. I mean, PandaCat was good. Let's see if he still is good.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he was poised to, just to give you a time frame, he was poised to be the hunter for that enemy squad.
Yeah, exactly.
That wound up second place at Worlds. So PandaCat, definitely a lot of talent there to be seen. And without further ado, bring it on. Game number 1, picks and bans. And just a refresher course, this is the best of 5. All teams have to get 3 wins in order to continue on. The gods that are banned out by default, we will see Soul. We'll see Soul and Raijin banned out. Other than that, everything is on the table. So, NeilMah takes Isis off the board.
I like the Isis ban. As we saw, especially in the European relegations yesterday, Isis was kind of like the forefront of, do you want mid and jungle domination? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
then you pick Isis. So, taking it away early is great, and the Yanis ban coming out of Team Flex, I think that's also pretty standard. You don't want to deal with Yanis.
Exactly, and you know, just to touch on what you were talking about as far as the push is concerned, Khepri taken off the board. NeilMah undoubtedly going to go for the Raven here, unless they have something.
Yeah, I mean, we have Raven, Amaterasu open. We have so many Soul Lane picks open, and also we have a couple of support bans, Khepri and Athena being taken away. So I don't know. We'll see who. Oh, Kuang. Everything else.
Also a fair pick to go. I expect to see Raven here for Team Flex. So if you guys haven't been following the past couple of weeks, basically Kuang and Raven have been banned almost all of the time.
Oh, Chronos, actually. I remember seeing, if you watched any bit of Lassiz streams.
Oh, yeah.
He's been playing a lot of Chronos lately.
Lassiz has a big Chronos.
Chronos is kind of the flavor of the month pick right now, especially with Doom War being kind of revamped and the new Zyros builds coming out in ranks. We have the Winged Blade and the Telkine's Ring, actually, which is very underrated item, but apparently works on Chronos, and you're able to hyper carry those games as Raven's still not picked up. That's crazy.
Wow, yeah, the Amaterasu, this is her first week of play. We saw a little bit of her yesterday in the jungle, not so successful. In the solo lane, she did a decent amount. Really what you see out of Amaterasu is this sort of like delayed frontline carry. She doesn't really do much in the early game, and then once team fights start happening, she becomes a problem.
Yeah, she definitely excels in the team fighting phase as Geb and Neith get picked up by NeilM. Very passive dual lane. It looks like they're not trying too hard to contest at least Team Flex's dual lane. I honestly think Oceans is one of the best players on Team Flex. I think he is an outstanding hunter, and I would like to see Team Flex put him like on a hyper carry kind of role, like something that can go out of control. Guan is actually picked up, I'm assuming, for support here. I mean, I can't imagine him being a jungler.
I mean, yeah, as a jungler, Guan Yu, I mean, we've seen DJ Pernicus do it, but
shoutouts.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, Amaterasu can go jungle. I think it wasn't successful yesterday, but that's a small sample size. One game doesn't dictate everything.
I love the Odin
So,
ban here. Immediately, just pick up the
gotta.
Guan ban out the Odin, not trying to deal with the anti-healing or the cage shenanigans. Even if you could get out of it, sometimes you just want to ban Odin.
Exactly, and another reason for banning Odin Team Flex have yet to pick up a Hunter, and you might want to see that well, before the Chiron ban came out, you might want to see that Chiron come along, and Odin definitely neuters what Chiron can bring to the table.
I like what NeilM does here. They kind of limit down Team Flex's dual lane, which I consider one of their strongest lanes, especially with
I agree.
my former teammate Incon, one of the better supports in NA, and we have Oceans, who's actually he's pretty insane. So I like the fact that they're limiting down their dual lane picks and to Incon picking Khumbakarna.
So the Kumba right there tells me that that's going to be the support. So we're likely to see either Guan or Amy in the jungle.
I hope it's not Amy in the jungle because, like, honestly, at least I feel like she doesn't bring anything to the table besides like maybe a reactive gank. So if you're going for a very passive early game, then yeah. But I would like to see any other jungler really. But we do see Bellona and Hui kind of locked in here, which means that it would be, I'm assuming, a Hunter middle.
Yeah, NeilMah did not get they don't seem to have gotten the Dumore memo where Dumore brains.
Well, I really like this composition because, especially with Hui, if it is actually Hui middle, you do have triple bounce locations in the mid lane for easy clear. You also can put Neith middle where you have easy farm all throughout the game, and you can go the, I believe you mentioned this before the cast, the Neith all maces build. Yeah. Jotuns, Titans, etc. And it's actually really good, especially with Neith scaling. She has 100% scaling a lot of her abilities. You're going to be hitting pretty hard. Mage Neith.
Yeah, I expect to see, as we get into the game, no guessing necessary. JiminyGlick is your mid laner for NeilMah, and so we'll take Neith into the mid lane. And pretty standard start. He'll be starting off with that Transcendent, so nothing too crazy. And then on the right side, we'll see in the jungle, it'll be DaretoCare on the Amaterasu. So.
Yeah, it looks like it is Amy jungle. Maybe he knows something I don't. Would like to be pleasantly surprised. Let's talk a little bit about Relics. We see an early blink of the owl. What do you think about that? I like it, but at the same time, I don't really see too many play-making potentials coming out of Soulshiner.
Yeah, what the blink does, and it's curious to see it this early, but a lot of times what we see out of the blink is the ability to get the instant, the 100-0 combo down. You blink in, you do a bunch of damage, and then you toss the player up in the air with or without the execute.
I like that. The utility from that is actually insane.
And so what happens is you toss the player, you toss your opponent in the air, and you teleport away, leaving your image on the bottom. So when the player lands, you explode it, and they die.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. For aggressive play out of that for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully they can utilize it with Glick on Neith middle, which was we did call that. We'll see how he fares up against Lassiz as Chronos. Now, in my opinion, I think Neith definitely has the better matchup, as actually Incon and Oceans, they're actually three-man starting mid-Harpies. I don't know who got it there.
Let's take a look at the graphs, and it went to NeilMah. So great positioning by PandaCat, able to get the hit from the...
And the reaction, too. They immediately saw through the ward, hey, they're starting mid-Harpies, that's cheeky, let's stop them. Reactively went, and now that not only do they get mids, but they also get red, and they're going to get the boars here. So the dual lane should be, like, pretty out of control. Actually, they decided just to go into lane. I like this call, too, because they won't have enough time to do boars. They'll lose out too much lane control, so good on them.
If we saw the boars, you would probably miss about 2 or 3 creeps coming into this dual lane. And let's take a look at Team Flex's dual lane, since we've talked about Neil's. And it's going to be a Medusa in that Hunter role, assisted by Incon on the Khumbakarna. Oceans, you mentioned it before, and this is a relatively unknown player. He's known to the high-end rank scene, I guess, on Twitch as well, but generally unknown. But what we saw out of him recently was absolutely spectacular. You wanted to see him on a character that he could really carry on. How do you feel about Medusa?
I think Medusa, so what I've heard from rumor is that Medusa is his favorite character and its most comfortable character. And I think that especially in these relegations, there's no point of trying to meta it. There's no point of trying to go crazy with a risky pick. As you can see here, as he's about to set up for first blood, there's the dash, and Geb immediately taken out for first blood for Oceans. And yeah, that was a great setup out of Incon.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I was talking about. Like, you could tell they're very comfortable, and they're able to set up for these easy kind of first bloods and have complete lane domination. Even with someone like Kumba, who really doesn't really have a great early game.
Yeah, I mean, that right there, comfort, I think you hit the nail on the head, is just comfort. Everything on the side of Team Flex's duo lane looked very comfortable. Oceans on this Medusa, very comfortable. And for what it's worth, I I personally think that Season 3 is the season of the ability hunters, and Medusa definitely one of those.
No, I agree 100%. As the more auto attack based hunters, I feel a little bit weaker. But
Yeah.
I love also, so they get first blood, and immediately, it must have been a call through communication. Team Flex was like, all right, well, we can take their boars now. Guaranteed safe invade, and they're able to capitalize on that. So that's going to put their dual lane even further behind.
And
good
that's
play.
the story right there. That's the veteranship on Team Flex.
Absolutely.
You've got Lassiz, and Mattypocket who have played the game since literally it was invented. DaretoCare very quickly behind, and Incon as well. These guys have played for a long time on a high stage, and they know that it's really about the objectives, whether they're big or small. You got to get the stuff after the stuff.
And that's also gonna, that's gonna help them, especially going into mid to late game, because you want Chronos to get that Doom Orb online, get to that mid to late game juiciness, and you want pretty much the Amy to get like her tankness online, for especially to deal with Soulshiner, who's going to eventually get to that Kuang late game with the Doom Orb, Polynomicon, being able to 1- and 2-shot people. No one likes to deal with that.
And let's return to this jungle matchup, actually. You mentioned Soulshiner at one point will be able to just absolutely murder people, and NeilMah finds himself on the wrong side of a murder case, and Oceans, with his second kill of the game, takes a lot of hit off of that fantastic hit from PandaCat, but with 3 people in this lane, PandaCat's going to take a spill. DaretoCare gets credit for that one.
Great rotation out of Dare and Lassiz, being able to reactively see. Must have been a call on communication as well. Hey, we're taking the 2v2 over here. Make sure you guys are ready. And Soulshiner and Glick were nowhere to be found.
Nowhere.
They weren't even close to responding to that. And it was just a pure 2v2 loss there out of PandaCat and NeiruMah. And honestly, especially after the first death, you shouldn't be taking any fights like that. And especially in my experience, best hunter from behind. So, like, you got to recognize that when you can actually take the 2v2 and when you cannot, and especially from the first blood, you just don't take it. Especially, you want to win this. You want to, compete with the big boys. You want to be a professional Smite player. You got to learn when to stop.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, talking to solo leaders, I remember when we had super regionals. We had Bickham actually up here. And all trouble for NeiruMah. Solo lane, but wasted ultimate out of Mattypocket there. Thought he saw an opportunity, and now it's going to be turned around. Bellona aggressing onto Matty,
Great
and with
dash.
the help of that Neith ultimate, this should be curtains, and it is. JiminyGlick gets credit. First kill on the board for NeilMah out of the mid lane.
Yeah, that was really huge. It might be able to get a little bit of kind of anything going here for Glick, because so far NeiruMah has been on the back foot for most of the early game. I love what happened there, by the way. So Mattypocket saw a kill attempt. He tried for it, took a tower shot, and immediately the Bellona saw Dante was like, wait, I can actually kill him with the help of Glick, and ulted in immediately. So that was great reaction time for him to be able to avoid the kill and also return a kill.
Team Flex lurking in the left side jungle, trying to find another hit onto this dual lane that has been hurt so often. Not a lot of vision here for the guys on NeilMah, but nonetheless, they will sniff out the situation from Flex, and they're not going to get too aggressive, but it might be fine as PandaCat gets knocked up in the air. Gab's going to help a little bit, but ultimate comes out of Oceans for another kill.
That was
duel.
beautiful. You can really feel the pressure coming out on dual lane right now. The Kumba ult in the air with the Amaterasu ult, immediately just locking down anyone. And just in case he got away, Medusa ult right at the tail end of that combination.
Just able to really confirm pretty much anything that's going to happen in this duo lane. Off the mark is the route out of the JiminyGlick, so Lassiz will be able to do whatever he wants. Soulshiner gets it yawned at, but a quick blink away.
Let's talk about support builds. So both supports have actually decided to go for Traveler Shoes. We've seen a lot of different combinations of support builds. Mostly, what's been the most famous one? It's been like Boots 1 into Winged Blade into like a breastplate, right?
Right.
So now we see Traveler Shoes, I'm assuming just to get the gold gain or extra gold gain for this match, because it looks like both these teams want to go for like more of a late game composition.
And it's very interesting. This is a North American phenomenon. Out in Europe, you see the cooldown boots, you see the tank boots even, and a lot of times, like you said, just boots rank 1 and they'll build other stuff. The Traveler Shoes, if you look both in relegation matches and on streams in the solo queue, you see the Traveler Shoes.
Well, I think it's the bottom line is Americans are greedy. So they're looking for that extra bit of gold, and they want it now. They're getting it from the boots. So expect to see a little bit of more aggressive poke coming out of the supports just to get those gold procs on each target. And looking at the mid lane, so Lassiz does rush the Doom Orb with Chronos, which is going to help him, especially when we get that fully stacked. And we do have a Transcendence coming, Transcendence Rush out of the Neith. So early stacking items for both the mid laners. And then out of the jungle, we do have Dare's actually, I mean, Soulshiner is actually going for a tiny trinket, I'm assuming an early poly.
Yeah, that'll just assist in his early game dominance and able to, well, dominance is probably a strong word for an Kuang in the early game, but that'll help him deal a little bit more damage in the early game instead of
It's a little bit more sustained too.
Yeah, instead of being a lopsided hammer where you, a lot of times, if you build a Doom Orb on the Kuang, you don't really do anything until later on.
Oh yeah, well it's a really slow item to build, especially out of the jungle. You don't get as much farm solo because you're kind of sharing everything. I mean, you do have the Bumbas, but junglers, especially if you can't get too far ahead, like Soulshiner's been on the back foot for most of this early game, there's no point of going into a Doom Orb. But I do like the fact that he will be going to an early poly, and we do have Amy here going for a breastplate immediately after boots, which I also like because, you know, having the ult up quicker means more initiation, which means more fights.
Exactly. When it comes to this Amaterasu in the jungle, it doesn't surprise me that it's DaretoCare playing it. Amaterasu in the jungle, and I want to know how you feel about this. It reminds me a little bit of Bellona in the jungle.
Yes.
In the sense that your ultimate can be a great gank tool, but outside of that, you don't really have the tools to keep people down. You just gotta deal the damage.
Yeah, and I like
you know
it.
What I mean?
Honestly, especially with the way the jungle is laid out right now, I do like Warrior and even, I would say, more Guardian-ish jungles being played right now. As Dante is actually launched up in the air by Incon. There's
in his
the
own
Khumbakarna
jungle. DanteLeFargo just surrounded by the enemy and a couple of more hits, but he's going to go offensive, get a good stun before he falls. JiminyGlick takes him out. DaretoCare on the good side of that, but JiminyGlick gets a kill for his own. Incon gets stunned out on the left side, and that's all NeilMah want to take. Team Flex in their own jungle wind up dealing a 1-for-1 as an invade out of DanteLeFargo does not go the way NeilMah wanted it to.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it was a trade.
Yep.
And honestly, any kind of trades right now, especially being down 3 kills, is good for Neil.
And that's a positive trade anyway, because as we said before, Lassiz is building Doom Orb. Anytime you can kill a mage, and
especially Chronos.
Exactly.
You want to keep that Chronos down. You want to make sure he doesn't get the farm that he needs to get to that mid to late game goodness where he can pretty much solo kill the rest of the team. Honestly, I've seen some ranked stuff. I know the power of Chronos. Now, the big thing is, can it transition to competitively okay? And they have to do their best to make sure to stop Lassiz from carrying these games.
Look at that. That one was pretty simple coming out of PandaCat. But I just want to point out the ricochet as the minions are moving from the right side of the wall, which is generally harder to hit than the easy flat side of the wall on the left side. The first blood that we saw, PandaCat, when he died in the first blood, he hit Oceans with a double tap off of the wall.
Yeah.
So I'm liking that out of PandaCat. You're seeing, sure, he's 0-2 as his lane has been just destroyed by Flex, but I'm liking these glimpses of mechanics that we're seeing.
Yeah, I think PandaCat as a mechanical player can stand up to the rest. Right now, I just want to see if he has the brains and the smart and you know, the kind of the experience to recognize what he needs to do from behind and come back and see if he can help his team in the team fight phase, because laning phase is over for him.
And what exactly is it? As you said, you're the best hunter from behind allied, so give PandaCat a little bit of advice.
He needs to pick his fights very carefully, wait for jungler help, wait for support setup, and look to last hit a couple of these kills, the Cyclone effect. I know for a fact when Cyclone gets behind, he's like, all right, I need to last hit a couple of these kills here, and PandaCat needs to do the same thing. He needs to find a couple of good kills in these team fights, get a couple of kills, maybe even kill the enemy hunter, and catch up a little bit on experience. He's only a level down, and he is 1,000 gold down. So I would like to see him maybe even go for a Gold Fury if they can get any kind of leverage in that area.
Just try to transition into more the team and objective fights as soon as possible.
Absolutely, especially with Hu Yi, you can fulfill that role pretty well. We did see an early push in the mid lane.
Yep.
Looks like it was kind of thwarted off as everyone's kind of back in their neutral position. We do see Lassiz backing. I want to see if he goes for the build, the Winged Blade, and it looks he is starting the Ancient Blade 1. It looks like he is going for the very famous Chronos build.
Yeah, the Winged Blade, what it does is it allows you to have a little bit more survivability on a character like Chronos. A lot of times you find yourself just barely missing the rewind, and the additional health from that Winged Blade might help out.
It's also the attack speed as well. I mean, it's just a great item.
Which
Immunity
is
to slows.
Because when it comes to Chronos, he doesn't really scale too well off of attack speed. but as opposed to straight power like a traditional mage. But yet we still see the demonic grip and the winged blade built quite often.
It's actually the Tau kinds, especially with the change to Tau kinds. It's so much attack speed, and with the Dumor backing up the power, people have realized that Chronos actually, with that much attack speed and that much early game power from Dumor, with the combination of how cheap these items are, as we actually see Soulshiner getting engaged on.
Absolutely smoked, and Team Flex want to continue as there were a couple more hits from that ultimate out of Amaterasu, but unable to find a target. Incon, on the other hand, finds his target perfectly. JiminyGlick gets hit by a plethora of abilities, and the last one is Oceans as he gets him with the acid spray, but a strong stun out of Geb. Gonna lock a couple of people under tower, but it's not enough to thwart Team Flex. They did damage at 10 minutes to this tower, and now they're gonna finish the job at 12:30. First tower falls down. Team Flex in the lead, 5 kills, 1,800 gold.
I love the initiation coming out of Team Flex, the coordination on cooldowns,
oh, wow.
being able to set Oceans up to make these hot plays, getting a lot of these kills. Oceans 5-0 as Team Flex get a Gold Fury. 12 minutes and 50 seconds in the game.
And that just doubled their lead. They went from 1,500 to 8. They went from about 1,500 gold in the lead to 3,000. That tower and the Gold Fury, definitely a big boon for Team Flex. And, you know, you mentioned it before, how quickly they went to those back boars after they got the dual lane. How quick did they go to that Gold Fury?
Oh, yeah, that was immediate snap reaction. You can tell just the experience of, we recognize our lead, we're not going to push the tier 2, we're not going to take red buff. We're immediately Gold Fury right after this tower, and I like, it just really shows the experience coming out of Team Flex.
Was that communicated?
Absolutely. I think a lot of you could tell with a lot of Team Flex's calls right now that they are kind of all on the same page, communications-wise at least. It comes down from DaretoCare rotating early because he knows the 2v2 is going down in dual lane, to the pressure mid lane, to that whole fight with Incon initiating. It shows that Team Flex all are on the same page and they are ready to fight and win this game.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed out of DaretoCare. Outside of the 2 early kills in the dual lane, and he even showed up for one of those ganks, DaretoCare has been around for every one of these sort of team fights. These skirmishes, I think, is probably a better word for it. And that just shows DaretoCare's map presence or map awareness is super strong. And I think in Season 3, your jungler absolutely needs to understand where he needs to be on the map.
Oh, it's huge, especially in Season 3. Jungle is one of the most important roles in the game, being able to set up ganks in the correct amount of pressure that your team needs to win, and Dare is doing it wonderfully this game, as we do see him going into what I would imagine be a runic shield after breastplate.
Ooh.
Don't know, I guess for the Kuang, as we do have initiation in the dual lane side. PandaCat jumping away from the Amaterasu ult, and it looks like a swift disengage out of NeilM.
Strong jump out of PandaCat, but on the other side of the map, not quite the same. Good jump out of Dante, but looks like inevitably Lassiz will. There's Mattypocket. Flex on all corners of the map. Mattypocket gets his first kill of the contest, number 8 in total for Team Flex.
Yeah, Pickler picks up his first kill of the game. He does have the meditation teleport online with the full CDR as well. Yep. So, Matty now is able to actually even up the experience. He was lacking a little bit in experience before that engagement, so that kill is going to help him a lot. And honestly, especially Bellona versus Guan, that's a really hard matchup for Guan Yu.
that's definitely not an easy one. I like the aggression out of PandaCat right there, and Mattypocket jumps up on the horse. JiminyGlick going to use the relic and the geometry to avoid the stun out of Matty, but he can't avoid that. Tallow Assault takes the life of a mid laner, and now Matty by himself on the front line, but Lassiz takes out NeiruMah, who is by himself on the backside. 2-on-2 as DaretoCare shows up. Ultimate already back, and PandaCat now going to get rooted by Incon. Beads are strong. Beads are done. Lassiz looking for the slow. Not going to find it. But here's the aggression from Incon and Dare underneath the tower. Lassiz, nowhere to be seen. Going to toss something over the wall, but all this tank for not a lot of damage. And PandaCat going to be okay underneath that tier 2.
That was a really awkward dive. It seems like they didn't really have the DPS or kind of the call-outs to kill PandaCat there. As he does aggress onto Incon, might actually be able to pick up a kill. Depends on if the bounce is right, but looks like he's not going to take that, as we do have a Bellona ult in the mid lane. He looks like he's going to chase down Lassiz, but a disengagement.
He had the power and the presence, DanteLeFargo we're talking about. He had the power and the presence to push away 2 different people.
Yeah, I mean, even though he's 0-2-2, he's still level 16, which is pretty much even, if not ahead, than half of Team Flex. Shout out to Soul Lane.
just hit level 17 off of those back harps. And, you know, 0-2-2, not a terrible slash line considering NeilMah only has 2 kills. The Soulshiner has been there for 100% of them. Facilitated a little bit of it as well, so doing what he's supposed to do. Mattypocket, though, after that exchange, goes from a 1-1-2 slash to 3, picks up 2 kills in the last couple of minutes.
Now, if I'm Team Flex, and if I'm in Team Flex's position, what I would like to do, it's very early on in the game, believe it or not, even though they are up a crazy amount of gold, they are up a lot right now.
Right.
Up 6K gold difference in the favor of Team Flex. So I would like to see them wait for the next Gold Fury, pressure dual lane tier 1, and just group up and fight. At this point, NeilM is way too far behind to really contest objectives, and I believe if they just straight up 5v5 force the issue under tier 1 towers and objectives like red buff, they can easily kind of take this game.
And I mean, Flex is looking to do that in the jungle, though, just pushing their lead, making NeilMah look out towards the right side as Team Flex shows up in
this is
duel
exactly what I was saying beforehand.
Yeah,
the group up, let's just push it down. We have such a crazy lead right now. Force the issue, forcing Kui ultimate. There's the blink in from NeiruMah, and it doesn't look like a really direct engagement. This is more of a, hey, get off our tower line engagement, as it looks like DaretoCare is trying to initiate on Dante.
And there's the blink over from Incon, going to send the Soulshiner into the sky, but a good jump out of Bellona makes Dante safe. 3 members of Team Flex looking towards this tier 2. Keep in mind the tier 1 tower is still up, so Team Flex exclusively looking for kills here in this duel lane.
Yeah, and now this doesn't look like it's doing much, but what this is causing for Team Flex, NeilM cannot farm. They have to respond to this kind of pressure. They cannot farm, they cannot catch up, and this is what you need to do to make sure to close out your games correctly. Maybe not dive as hard, but as long as they can do it calculated and correctly like they are right now.
Lassiz by himself. NeiruMah has no idea, and they're not going to collapse on the lone mage. Half HP, Lassiz by himself, and NeiruMah only concerned with the onslaught of 4 members of Team Flex coming down the middle, or the left side. Mattypocket gets credit for NeiruMah, and the onslaught still continues. Whole time, DaretoCare just tanking up this tower, while his carries are able to keep pushing forward and push the enemy away.
And look at the healing coming out of the Pickler right now. The meditation being popped, the healing nonstop. Really, Matty, 4-1-2. Not only is he's not doing that much damage, he's disrupting the enemy, healing everyone, making sure everyone's topped up. And look at the health of everyone for this Gold Fury.
And look at that, 10,000 healing already done by Mattypocket, just 19 minutes on the clock. And Team Flex, they've got a commanding lead right now. And with that Gold Fury, it's going to catapult them close to 10,000, just a hair above 9. 12-2 read the kills.
And this is what I love about Matty W. This is what I love, because he's not like your traditional soul laner. Like, he's not like a Baskin where I'm looking to dominate the lane. He's not an Omega where it's like, yo, like, I'm Omega. I win everything. It's more of, I'm a support soul laner. I'm here to help out my team, win, heal, and help my team out, and let's see if we can get some victories in.
Which is something that I've always liked about the solo lane, because it always seemed to me that solo lane is the Swiss Army knife of your team comp. Whatever your team needs is what the solo lane fulfills. So like when you guys were playing with Envy, y'all needed like a hard hyper carry. So
absolutely,
you were able to do that with Cyclone Spin. And Adonis actually wrote a really good article. It's not just words, it's numbers. You can check out how well Cyclone did. Check that out on our esports site. But also you take a look at towards where Confrey was for Titan once upon a time, and he was able to bring that magical damage. And for Mattypocket, as a traditional support player, he's able to bring that support mentality to the solo lane, which is helping NeilMah, and which is helping Team Flex, as they just sort of lean on Dare and Lassiz and Oceans.
Absolutely, and it really shows, especially going into the 20-minute mark. 12-2 in favor of Team Flex, and now, especially with this kind of a lead, we do have the Gold Fury down, and it looks like an engagement near the Fire Giant pit. DanteLeFargo stun locked, 2-second stun on that ult. He's in the air.
He's down. He's going to force the ultimate out. We've seen this episode time and time again. But this time, Incon gets rooted underneath the tower. Fantastic play from JiminyGlick. Mattypocket very deep, but still providing the heals and the damage. Oceans and Lassiz combined for 2 kills each. And they're continuing. Oceans gets the double kill underneath the Phoenix. Team Flex doing exactly that. Just flexing on him.
Yeah.
NeiruMah cannot handle this.
And on right now, all they need to do is just run right over to the Fire Giant. But I will say, PandaCat over in the dual lane picks up a tier 2 himself. But really, now can he rotate, or does he go for Phoenix? Does he try to contest the Fire Giant?
Goes for Phoenix. This
is a commitment.
Exactly. There's a dice roll on the Fire Giant, right? You can go and you drop a whole Yi ult, and who knows, maybe you get it, right? if you commit to this left-hand side, you're going to force somebody to show up. It forced Mattypocket. Unfortunately, PandaCat did not feel like he wanted to take that fight, but I actually like that decision to go to the fire, to go away from the fire giant, just go for the Phoenix, because you force a response.
Yeah, and I like that too. They decided to send the Pickler back to defend the Phoenix because they realized, well, Matty, you can always teleport back just in case we need you. Shout out to Soulshiner.
So Flex and NeilM both pull the right play, but unfortunately for NeilM, does not wind up with a Phoenix. Team Flex do wind up with a Fire Giant buff around their waists, and now they're looking to fight. All the towers are gone except for the right side tower allied. Where are they headed? Mid or left?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'd imagine they're going to pressure mid and dual lane side, and they're going to look to push Soul Lane tier 2 right now for NeilM. I can't imagine a team fight in NeilM's favor at this point. If I was in NeilM's shoes, I would be thinking about game 2, be thinking about what can we do differently, and I would honestly be like, hey, dual lane, you guys need to chill. Let's just try to make it to the first 10 minutes of the game before we start dying, because that was a complete early game victory out of Oceans and Incon.
Which is actually, you know, I wanted to bring that up. NeilM, this team, as I was looking at it versus Team Flex, I mean, this is not a slouch of a team. NeilM is a good team with good players. I did not expect it to be this extravagant of a lead for Team Flex.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just shows their experience and their strategy right now with Team Flex, which is what you need. Like, this is an SPL team. Don't get it twisted. A lot of people are like, Team Flex kind of like, they can get carried in the SPL, whatever. No, they are a scary, good team.
And right now, they're putting their money where their mouth is. A lot of damage coming out on the left-hand side onto DaretoCare, but he's able to just pretty much walk away thanks to Mattypocket's heals. And there it is, just so much Guan heal. Finally, a move is made by NeilM, and everybody on Team Flex is going to spread away from the ultimate out of the Ho Yi. This Phoenix still 100%. Team Flex cannot seem to find the damage onto it.
Yeah, and now because the initial engagement's gone, they're going to look to pressure this Phoenix a little bit more. Dante getting a little bit poked out, and DaretoCare is forced to kind of back away there, but with the heals from the Pickler, I mean, Guan used healing at this point. He can keep this whole team tops, especially with the Fire Giant regen. There's nothing, unless you get a direct, full-on commitment on Team Flex, there's no way you can kill them. 5,000
healing in that last exchange by itself, pretty much, and he also still has the meditation available. NeilM trying to bring it back by coming some sort of defense, but unfortunately Team Flex still on the top, stun down on a Bellona. Lassiz gets credit for it. DanteLeFargo. Incon gets stunned just briefly. Here comes PandaCat making moves, but not the right ones as Team Flex. Lassiz is going to get chased out, but no one else. Team Flex still stepping on the throat.
Lassiz immediately rewinds to full HP, just in case you thought they couldn't sustain any harder. Guess what? I'm back at full HP as we have DaretoCare. His ultimate, I swear he just used that ultimate, as it's up again with the CDR of Amy and another engagement. They're just trying to take all the Phoenixes at this point. Team Flex just completely grabbing the games by the throat, and they just want to end it right now. There's no more backing, no more farming, taking the Titan.
Yeah, no, Team Flex, they got the Tims on, folks. This is the foot on the throat. Order Titan already down to about 2k HP, and now it's dead. Team Flex take game number 1 in spectacular fashion. And what is a best of 5 has quickly shrunk to now 1-game lead to Team Flex.
I love the dual lane play out of Oceans and Incon. It just reminds me of a young me and Incon.
It's funny how quickly that turned around, because nobody was exactly negative about Oceans. It was more just question marks. Who's this Oceans guy? Where is he?
Even in fact, myself.
People were kind of positive about him.
Yeah, I mean, even myself, when you think Oceans, it was like, who is he? Besides, like, maybe a ranked player, but he showed up wonderfully.
Exactly, and that's just what we've been seeing pretty much, is Oceans doing fantastic, and he started this game off pretty much him and the support player in that long lane. Let's take a look at First Blood, how Oceans got things started on this Medusa. NeiruMah just got caught a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this was textbook abuse the Geb early. Geb's early game isn't that good. PandaCat couldn't really clear the wave, and it looks like Incon set up a really hot bait here, Mez, and they're able to root him down and pin down NeiruMah, gets all 3 Viper shots on the Geb, dashes in to seal off the escape, and Oceans with a very textbook play, was able to set up a kill there.
Yeah, I mean, just as you said, just textbook. Nothing too fancy. Just isolate the Geb, who's got a duty early game. So that's first blood. We'll take a look at one of the best plays of the game coming up next. It was a very exciting situation as one more time Oceans combines for one of these moves. We'll take a look. And really what it comes down to is the ultimate to seal the deal onto Neo, and then they're going to look towards Panda.
Yeah, even though he got stunned there, he pre-beads the ricochet there and set up behind Incon to make sure, hey, we're going to finish off PandaCat. That was a beautiful reaction play out of Oceans. This guy's amazing. I'm very happy for Team Flex picking him up. I honestly, and I say this with respect to all the teammates, I think he's like the best player on Team Flex. He's the guy you want to look out for going into future games.
I agree. I think there's a lot to say about Oceans for multiple reasons. One, I mean, it's no secret that some of the guys on Team Flex were, I don't want to use the word jaded, but disillusioned, right? You played in the scene for a long time. Sometimes it can be taxing. Bringing on a new player like Oceans, that's got to breathe a little bit of life into you.
Oh, absolutely. It's just a fresh guy who knows he has his head on straight and he's ready to play. And even with something as simple as Medusa, you know, which is supposedly one of his favorite hunters to play, he's doing wonderfully. He's showing up. He's doing what he needs to do, doing the correct damage, positioning correctly. I mean, even against Problem Solved, where Team Flex lost, Oceans barely, I think he died like literally twice.
Yeah, Oceans has been putting on a show for the past couple of weeks. And as I said, I think he's an asset to this team for more reasons than not. So Ocean is definitely able to really turn it up and was a big reason why this team won this game. It was a very quick one, so we're going to move on to game number 2. But first, we're going to grab a drink. You should too. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes for game 2, Relegation Team Flex versus